children need set clear expectations. And this should be done by being consistent in rules. You don't tell kids things that you It's good to have another scenario from one of my clients. I want you to know that this is a very sad story that we are dealing with here. And it's actually becoming very, very difficult in settling with someone. They went for counseling, they were given the advice, but somebody decided to ignore what they were told in the counseling session. No wonder why we have such a sad scenario now in front of us.
Dr. Marriage, I want to share something deeply personal, not just as a topic, but as a lived experience that I believe many blended families can relate to. I'm a woman in my early 40s, and 2 years ago, I married a wonderful man, or so I believed. He came into the marriage with 2 children, the younger one being just 7 years old. I also have 2 children of my own from a previous relationship. My youngest is 13. So, yes, our household is a busy mix of personalities, routines, and emotional baggage. Before we said I do, we did all the right things. We went for premarital counseling, several sessions, in fact. And one of the key things that was drilled into our heads was the importance of a united front when raising children, especially in blended families where the dynamics can get, let's just say, complicated. At first, we were great. We had family meetings, agreed on rules, discipline strategies, and boundaries. There was mutual respect, open communication. At least, that's how it seemed. I genuinely believed we were building something strong, something healthy. But slowly, cracks began to show. It started subtly. The first time I noticed it was when his 7-year-old daughter was rude to me, and I corrected her gently but firmly. Instead of backing me up, or at least waiting until we were alone to talk about it, my husband immediately jumped in and said, "Oh, she didn't mean it like that. She's just tired." In front of her, right in the moment. At the time, I brushed it off. Maybe he was just trying to keep the peace. Maybe it was a one-off. But it wasn't. Over time, this became a pattern. Whenever I tried to discipline her, even something small like asking her not to leave food on the floor or to greet visitors politely, he'd interrupt, challenge me, or make a joke of it, always in her presence. And let me tell you, kids are smart. They know exactly when they have leverage. That little girl now treats me with open disrespect, rolls her eyes, talks back, sometimes completely ignores me when I speak. And my husband, he either excuses it or acts like I'm the problem, like I'm being too hard on her or overreacting. What hurts most isn't even the girl's behavior. It's that my husband has made me powerless in my own home. The very man who once promised we'd parent together now undermines me like I'm some random stranger trying to tell his child what to do. This has become a major source of conflict between us. Almost every day now, there's a new issue involving her. And when I bring it up, it turns into a defensive argument, not a conversation. I feel unheard, unprotected, and frankly, disrespected. I'm not trying to be her mother. I understand that role is already filled, but I live in this house. I cook, clean, nurture, and care just like any parent would. Dr. Marriage, am I not allowed to correct a child living under my roof? Am I supposed to smile and nod while she disrespects me? What happened to the united front? Tell me, Dr. Marriage, what do you do when the foundation of your parenting partnership crumbles right before your eyes?
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. How are you? Anyway, so that this thing can make meaning, I want us to look at children discipline in a normal family before we go to the blended family. This will help us to understand uh, what is involved here. Uh, I want you to know that discipline or disciplining children in a family should be about teaching children the right thing rather than punishing them. That's very, very important. Disciplining is about helping kids understand boundaries, helping them to make better choices, and also helping them to be responsible people who are also very respecting in the process. So, in order for that to take place, children need set clear expectations. And this should be done by being consistent in rules, especially things like teaching children to be kind, cleaning up, doing homework, and all other things that are involved. So, being consistent is very important. And I want you to know that as parents, being consistent with children also helps building trust. We need to be very consistent, especially when it comes to consequences. Whatever we say, it must be followed up by the action. And I'm talking like a USK trained teacher, so I know what I'm talking about. Behavior management, very, very important. You don't tell kids things that you don't do. And also, it's very important that when we find children doing good things, we need to compliment them and make them feel good. It's an encouragement to them. Kids need to be taught how to be accountable. If a child breaks a toy out of anger, they need to know that they've lost the toy. You don't buy another one for them. No. Kids need to know that if they don't do their homework, they will face consequences from the teacher. So you don't protect children from consequences. They need to know that there are consequences, and this will help them to be accountable. And one of the things that I like is that kids need you to model good behavior. Kids don't listen. I always say to people, kids don't listen to you, but they catch what you say. The way you communicate with your spouse, the way you respect each other, the way you talk to them. Kids, they learn from these things. And I want you to know that the worst thing that a kid can witness is to witness a verbal abuse and physical abuse. That's dangerous to the child to witness such things. As parents, we need to provide an environment that will assist kids to express themselves in what I call open communication, where they are able to express their feelings, where you ask a child, why did you act out like this? Then you listen to what they are saying. Very important. We need to know that behavior issues are rooted in feelings. And when a child is expressing, articulating the feelings, we need to listen. Lastly, it's very, very important that when we are punishing the child, we must avoid harsh punishment. And some of those harsh punishment, they can actually land you in problems as a parent with the law if you take things to extremes. And also, on a sad note, you can also do things that can end up affecting the self-esteem of the child. So discipline, when you are disciplining a child, you explain to the child where disciplining and everything, then it works as a guide and not as a scare. Right. I think I've talked about talked about discipline in a normal family. Now we are going to the focus of the presentation today, where the question has come from the scenario. And I'm now going to talk about discipline in what is called a blended family. That's where the question is from. And I've come up with a blender here that I want to show you. Here is my blender. Here, I like this thing when I'm talking about blended families, because when you are looking at this thing, this is what I had, the juice that I had for breakfast this morning. Even if you're looking this thing as a close lunch like me right now, I can't tell the fruits that have been put here. I can't tell. I can tell probably when I taste, but just from looking, I cannot tell. I want you to imagine this being the situation in a blended family, and the blender is here. Before these fruits were blended, you could tell this is it. Then my wife then realized that there are rules that you need to follow when you are using a blender. And she followed the rules. You cut these fruits to a certain shape, size, whatever it is. And then the process started of blending. It didn't take a second. No, not even a minute. There's a certain time that you need to make sure that the things are thoroughly done. They are blending. You can't tell which one is this. Now, very, very important that in a blended family, there are certain things that if we do right, if we follow the rules, I want you to know that the rules are almost like equally the same. That's why I started with a normal family. The rules are equally the same, though there are additions on this one. But I want you to know that kids, blended or not blended families, kids need a united front. United front. The father and the mother must speak the same language when it comes to rules. In other words, the two of you must agree behind closed doors on the issues of discipline. You must be on the same page. And then you present the rules together fairly, treating children fairly, not unfairly. And also, it's very, very important that you should assist each other so that the biological parent will take the lead, so that the other one is more like a supporter. Why take that role? It is very, very important that the children must build trust in the other parent. So you are giving your spouse time to build trust with the children, to bond and so forth, while you are taking the lead. Rules need to be consistent with children, consistent. And this should apply to all kids. No favoritism or inequality. No. And also the other thing that is important, as we come up with these rules in a blended family, let's make the children participative. They are of age. Even as young as they are, they will understand. Ask them to come up with some of the rules. You are setting the rules together. What is the advantage? You set the rules together, the children are sort of encouraged to honor them and keep them, because they know that they participated and they even know the consequences. And also, the two of you, there's something that you need to avoid. It is to avoid talking like this, where you say your kids, my kids mentality, that thing should stop. Avoid that. There's nothing like your kids, my kids. Use the inclusive language like our kids, our home. What are we doing when we are talking to these kids using all this inclusive language? We are promoting unity. I have already told you that blending takes time. And because it takes time, it's very important that we should be patient with the process. It's not an overnight thing, it takes time. Then comes to something that has been raised in this video. It is the issue of disagreeing in front of the children. You know what? I want you to know that in a normal family, you can disagree in front of children and get away with it, depending on what. But in a blended family, it's very, very difficult. Yes, you can disagree, but the consequences, they go far. So how can we handle disagreement in front of the children in a blended family? It's okay. The disagreement has happened about parenting, but how should it be done? It should be modeled respectfully. You can disagree and still respect each other by the way you will be talking to each other in front of the children. But if you are disagreeing, making arguments and criticism, as we can see from this scenario from my counseling session, it's sad. It doesn't work. I've already said when we are talking in front of children, it's very important that we use the we language. Even if we are disagreeing, we need to keep the unity unified. You can actually say, if you see that things are going off hand, you can tell the other spouse that suggest and say, why don't we take a break and talk about this thing in private? The other temptation that we must also run away from, it is gossiping your spouse with your own children. That is deadly. That is deadly. The moment that happens, then that's it. This is what we are dealing with in this scenario that has come. There is no marriage now, divorce caused by a child to people who were forewarned, but somebody decided not to follow the suggestions, the rules, and everything that they were given so that they could have a happy home. Uh, I've already told you that a step parent needs to be very careful when it comes to disciplining. There are so many things that we need to take into consideration. Number one, it is the dynamics of the family. That is the age of the children or the age of the child. Very, very important. And number two, the how long has the step parent been in the child's life? All those things, they come into play. Okay. And also, has trust been built? I talked about building trust and so forth, so that as the other parent is backing the other one and also assisting, reinforcing. You are just assisting, where you are reminding the child, even if the other parent is not there, to say, but mom told you this and I was there. Dad told you this thing and I was there, and it's important that it should be done because you agreed to it when mom or dad was there. Always with children, it's very important to use influence and not authority. That's why the step parent should work hard on relationship with the child so that they get to know each other before he becomes a disciplinarian or totally involved in the life of the child. There has to be this relationship where the trust has been built. And also, as you come up with rules, it's very important that the things should be clear within the two of you before it's taken to the children. Now, I want you to know that kids are very clever. Kids are very clever. If things are not done properly, they will take advantage. They will take advantage. Kids easily know who is on my side and who is not on my side. Kids know the timing on when to ask for certain things where they want to push boundaries. They take advantage, either you're in a hurry or you're tired or whatever it is. They take advantage and ask for things that they are not supposed to. They are testing the boundaries. And also, kids use what I call divide and conquer, whereby you ask for something and they say no, and they will say to you, but mom or dad said this, then that's it. Even the way they talk at times, you hear a kid talking to you saying, you never let me do anything. Then after that, they start crying. You should never, never give things to a child because they are crying. You've lost it. You're sending the wrong message. That for you to get things, you have to cry, you have to wail, you have to throw things on the floor, whatever it is. And kids are also good at shifting the blame to the other person. I want to round up this thing by encouraging parents in a blended family that you should watch for the following about 5 things, because they will help you to know that you are in trouble and you need to seek for outside help, external help. Number 1, if conversations keep on repeating and maybe even end up in fights, argument, whatever it is, it's time to know that you need help. And if one of you really feels unheard or shut down, it's also time to look for help. And also, number 3, if your parenting differences are affecting the emotional safety of the child, it's also time to look for help. And also, when there are lots of unresolved issues that are triggering your parenting things and it's bringing imbalance and all sorts of things and even leading to trauma, it's time to look for help. And finally, when you discover that there is now going to be, you're seeing emotional distance in the relationship beyond just the parenting differences, then you realize you need external assistance. If you have listened to me till this far and I'm just about to leave, there is something that you need to, that is to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button so that you don't miss another video that is as good as this one. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you for your support. Thank you.